The Oh So Lovely Talk Show. The Oh So Lovely Talk Show. So lovely.
So today our guest is Siobhan Jones. We have decided this time we're going to interview each other to just explore us a little bit more.
Yes.
We've been running this podcast for 5 years now, and it's just been an absolute pleasure working with you. But I think it's a really great opportunity just to delve a little bit deeper into the world of Siobhan Jones. So, just to get us going, could you just give us a little intro of who you are?
Yes, of course, I'd love to. And how exciting to be here. And actually, how scary it is to be in the hot seat. I didn't know this. All these years I've been interviewing people, and I'm like, oh, how relaxed it is, but it's not. I don't feel relaxed at all.
You're in safe hands.
Pardon?
You're in safe hands.
Good, I know I am. You're always very safe with you. So, yes, hi, I'm Siobhan Jones. I am a freelance hair artist. I am a global educator, but also a global ambassador for L'Oreal Professional. And which means I've had the privilege of teaching in over 25 countries, 50 cities. I'd say like my USP is I like spot fashion forward trends and translate them into wearable services and techniques for our clients. But I think probably my main focus at the minute is I really want to advocate for working mums within the industry. I want to give them a voice. I am a working mum, and I think it's really important to be vocal about that. And also, I really want to delve in a lot more about conversations that kind of uplift people, uplift creatives, and make them feel like they've got a voice effectively.
Yeah. I mean, I've been privileged to be working with you for the last 15 years as a work colleague, but also latterly more becoming more about friendship and sharing wonderful times with you. And it's been a real testament of who you are, I think, of kind of how our friendship has transcended from a working environment to a social, but also where we both stand in the industry together. Um, and I know that when we've gone into this podcast, we wanted to do something that was uplifting, and we wanted to do something that was able to bring topics up that we talk about in the staff room at the salon, but also be able to kind of tap into things that maybe we don't get to talk about on a more wider spectrum.
Mm.
And I know from my experience of working with you, the highs and the lows and the trials and the tribulations you've had. And I think it'd be really lovely to sort of go in a little bit more and find out a little bit more detail about these juicy, gossipy moments.
Go in.
I know that you are currently working all over the place, but let's go back to the beginning. Where did you start?
So I started in actually I started in a large salon group, not the one I met you in, a different one. And I started training as a hairdresser there. And I met some really amazing people. I was an assistant. I started as a Saturday girl, and ultimately before that I used to train in a drama school. So I went to the Brit School, and my goal was to be an actress. And I worked in the salon as a Saturday job just to kind of earn extra money. And I remember just being there and loving it. The people that were there, just the way it almost felt like a stage. People were kind of performing to their clients, and they were gaining this, bits of dabs of dopamine like every 40 minutes or so when they were doing their clients. And it just felt like a really amazing community and family, and that's kind of what made me want to stay in the industry and kind of push forward. I unfortunately then got asked to move to a different salon in a different area, and I really didn't want to go. So that's what actually ended or caused me to leave that salon group.
Yeah.
And I find that's kind of been a running theme throughout my life. Like, I don't always actively choose to move.
Right.
I actually quite like being quite safe, and I get really comfortable in what I'm doing. But I think sometimes the universe shunts me in a direction when it feels like I'm being a bit too predictable.
Ah,
So I ended up moving to another salon because of that issue.
right.
And actually I ended up leaving that salon because something else happened.
Yeah.
And I always look back at these things and go, that needed to happen. That's then pushed me and made me stronger. So I don't know, it's not am courageous, but sometimes I need a little bit of a push, I think, sometimes to make me do more.
Do you think when you say that you like to stay in a safe space,
Mm.
um, and then there's been a push, is the ultimate reason you've moved your decision to go though? Because
It is,
yeah,
but I feel like the decision is kind of an obvious one.
right.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it isn't always for some, but I just feel like the alternative would be misery.
Yeah.
So, like, why would I choose misery over, And often when I then move up a level, I guess, in the
Yeah.
game of life. Like, I
Yeah.
end up doing something that's even more amazing and more fulfilling than I was doing before.
Yeah.
But I just think without that little bit of a push, I just don't know if I would have been quite settled and comfortable doing what I was doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It actually quite baffles me that because I do feel like you're a very strong decision maker.
Hmm.
And for you to just say that, I was a bit sort of taken aback that you feel like you hold back and stay in a safe space. I've always
Yeah.
felt like you've been quite a strong, you are a strong driven woman. Don't get me
Mm.
wrong, but
Yeah.
it was just I felt I was quite taken back by the fact that you're like I feel like it almost is like misery is the only other option, so I have to make a change.
Well, I guess there's lots of people that maybe still stick with misery because it's easier,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it's because I maybe think I sit on things for too long,
yeah.
maybe. And I don't necessarily always know I'm doing it until I've moved myself from the situation.
Do you feel like maybe it's your personality that tries to see that there may be a better outcome of that solution? So therefore, I'm just going to try and push this a bit further, see if it gets better.
Definitely.
Uh,
Like, I would hate to leave something and think I haven't tried.
yeah,
Like, I always, whenever I've ended up leaving or moving on or changing, I 100%, that's why I guess I'm always happy with the decision because I'm like 100% certain that it was the right thing.
yeah,
And I guess there is something in that, like, you don't ever want to look back and
no,
wish for the past, but I always see the positive and where I'm moving to because
yeah,
I feel like I've done all I could do
yeah,
where I was before.
yeah. You've exhausted all the options there.
Totally. Yeah.
Misery is the only option.
Misery is the only
Let's move
option.
on. Find
Don't want misery.
a
Push forward.
push forward. And then obviously we met working together.
Hmm.
Um, can you remind me how old you were at that time and what point in your career you were? Because I met you through the art team. So
Mm.
I found that I was on a level playing field with you at that point.
Hmm.
And it probably didn't really occur to me that I was a good few years older than
Mm.
you a little bit later down the line. But then I think because of the art team creates a pull together of creatives,
Yes.
I didn't really understand I didn't know your background at that point.
Yes. Yes. So I think what happened, I was actually quite young, I think. So
Yeah.
I would have been like early 20s.
Yeah.
And which is great, but the roles that I was given, actually I had quite a lot of responsibility quite early on. So like heading an art team and things like that, it's quite a lot for at the time a global salon group,
Hmm.
and traveling to all different countries to kind of fulfill education.
Yeah.
I do think a bit of that was just me using my previous drama experience
Your acting skills.
to kind of make myself feel comfortable in those roles. Like, genuinely, I think I was obviously good at doing hair, but I'd never done any of those things before.
Yeah.
So it was like, fake it till you make it. There was definitely a lot of that. So yeah, so I was probably, I would have been kind of early 20s, but I had a lot of drive, and I think I did well in the job. And I wouldn't change that for the world. The only thing I kind of regret a little bit now is I kind of bypassed a lot of the time when I could have learned a lot.
Yeah.
If that, so it's meant now I've kind of had to like try and keep up a bit because I've kind of almost my career went faster than my
Ability.
my ability, if that,
Okay.
yeah. So then I had to work extra hard, I think, to try and kind of keep everything up to speed.
On track.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, you did a really good acting job there. And you pulled it off on quite high level because we're on stages in foreign countries and you did not show any sign of weakness.
Well, Keira Knightley was there. It was
Of
me,
course.
Keira Knightley. was there. I was there. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I'm sure, of course, there will always be skill and talent in there. But I guess what I'm saying, I didn't ever think, oh my gosh, I'm the best at what I'm doing here. I should be in this role. I did kind of think, oh, like, so I'm going to get caught out in a minute. Like, how is this happening? Like, what's going on? And like, obviously, feedback was good. So that was always positive. But yeah, I was always very aware of one being young, but I think I looked quite young, I think, at the time as well. So I remember when I first trained to be a hairdresser and I went on the floor, I think I qualified when I was 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And I was told to basically tell my clients that I was older than I was.
Oh,
So I kind of,
nice.
all lies. And I don't know why, really. It was just, I guess, so people would trust me more. So rather than saying I was 17, I would say I was 20 something. And I don't know, it just kind of kept
Mm.
with me. And I remember actually going, inviting one of my friends from the salon that I worked with. She came to my party. She came to my birthday, and she thought must have thought I was turning 18, but I was younger than I was.
Mm.
And she turned up at my party with this like crown thing that I had to wear. And then I had to tell her. I was like, I'm sorry, I've been lying to you all this time, which is awful. I felt horrendous
Yeah.
because, like, I don't know how it came to that. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, we didn't talk about age every day, but
No.
there was just obviously this assumption at the beginning that I was older than I was. I can't really remember the ages right properly there, but yeah, like
You lie too much.
yeah, not too much. How old am I? I don't know.
And we worked together for a good 10 years, I think it was at the time.
Hmm.
Um, and I obviously am aware of what you went through in that period of time. And I do know that there was a period of time that you had to step away back from your role as in the salon. Um, Tell me about that and how that affected you. I mean, when you're trying to fake it till you make it and you're trying to build a career for yourself and you're having to push yourself higher and higher, and then something quite fundamental um, happens,
Hmm.
how does that affect you?
So I was working in the salon, and at the time, because the salon, the culture was to kind of work hard. The busiest stylists were the most successful stylists. You weren't really given much breaks, so you weren't given lunch breaks. You weren't given much control over your column. So the appointments, everyone was like 45 minutes long. Never minding how long they would actually take to do.
Yeah,
So, you could be doing a full head or you could be doing a full transformation, which would often take much longer than that,
yeah,
but you'd still only have those appointment times. I was also learning, so like on the job. So I remember having to do like a man's haircut. He wanted a mohawk, and I'd never done one ever in my life, but I was charging for this mohawk that I'd
yeah.
never done, and also had appointments waiting either side, without going to the toilet, without having lunch, all of these things. And I ended up getting this really bad like RSI in my hand. So meant that I couldn't move. It's repetitive strain. I literally could not feel my arm, my shoulders, my neck, and I had to go into the hospital. And basically, they had said that it had got so bad that I probably wouldn't be able to work
Wow.
in the industry again. And it was quite funny because at the time in the salon that I was in, there were actually 4 other people that had the same thing and ended up having to quit. So obviously shows how like common it is.
Yeah,
I was very lucky in that one, be able to use my acting skills, to be able to convert my job at the time and work as like an admin in an admin type role within the salon group while my hands started healing.
right.
So I was able to get some funds together while I was doing that. Um, but I know because there were so many people in the salon that needed that, they couldn't offer that to everyone.
Wow.
So I was very lucky. But then at that point, I remember kind of looking into it, and it was just so common that hairdressers in particular will suffer from these issues, and a lot of it is repetitive strain. So it means that if you continuously keep doing this, you're going to make it worse. And the only way to probably prevent it is to do it on more of a kind of minimal level.
Hmm.
So after speaking with doctors and having lots of physio and being able to pay for lots of physio, and again I was really fortunate because I had some funds that was able to give me the ability to do that.
Yeah,
I then thought, how am I gonna shift my career, because I love what I do. I was really loving the hairdressing industry. I didn't know anything else,
yeah.
bar become Keira Knightley, and like that was taken. So I was like, what am I going to do? And that's where education came into play. So it was an opportunity for me to stay within the industry, but also then not necessarily need to work within the salon at such a kind of hardcore
Yeah.
level. And again, that was something that happened that kind of shunted me towards that. I'd always watched other people do education, and I'd always think, oh, I wouldn't ever be able to do that, or they're too good. You know, I'm just, no, I couldn't do that myself. So it was kind of, again, the universe going, all right, you've been watching this, you're saying you want to do it, you're not doing anything about it. I'm going to give you RSI. And now you're going to have to do something. And then that's then when I kind of really put myself out there and push myself to, you know, show that I could do education, and ended up and have been very good at education. And also I love it since then.
Going back to sort of reflecting on your age and getting that RSI in your arm, do you remember, or reflecting on that now, how did that make you feel at the time? Because that's quite a major thing to happen to you at a young age in an early part of your career. How did that kind of affect your mental health, or how you felt at the time? Can you reflect on that?
So I just remember just feeling lost, and you know, all these questions come up because I'd spent a lot of my time just focused on working, not really doing much else. I didn't have any hobbies.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any other interests. And actually reflecting on it, I didn't really realize that it impacted my mental health really too much. I was still in a stage where I was just kind of pretending everything was okay. I wasn't very good at like acknowledging when something was a bit shit. So that was me still in that kind of place in my life, I guess. So I wasn't dwelling on it. I just very quickly was like, something needs to change here. I need to do something, and was kind of on, you know, full pelt on what I needed to do next. But it definitely made me aware of needing to kind of create other paths for myself, like not just focusing just solely on work in the way that I was, and trying to kind of make sure that I was kind of, I don't know, gaining some other hobbies or
Yeah.
interests, or just having other avenues that I could fall to.
Yeah.
Because it's scary, isn't it? Like when you've put all your energy into one place or one thing,
Yeah.
and then seeing that it could just very quickly be taken away from you.
Yeah.
Like that was not only my job, but it was like, it was part of my personality. So
Yeah.
if I suddenly was not going to be doing that anymore, what was I? Did that mean I was nothing? Like
Yeah.
that's kind of a horrible feeling. Um, yeah, so I think just I think probably from that point, that's when it started to kind of make the cogs start turning in my head. Like,
Yeah.
you know, trying not to just be central thing,
Yeah.
trying to ensure that I was, I don't know, catering to other needs and learning as many skills as possible,
Yeah.
um, just in case it was
Yeah.
necessary, I guess, or needed.
And I guess also at that time, and this is, I think, at the time of in the hairdressing industry, that was the culture, was to mindfulness and mental health wasn't talked about at all,
At all, no.
and the support throughout any brand or hairdressing
Mm.
community, that was just the way it was.
It was seen as being weak.
It's,
So I think if you were to ever acknowledge that something was wrong, you know, no one would go, no one would know how to react to that. I don't think,
yeah,
actually, that just wasn't. It's just so mad to think that that wasn't long ago, but how different things are now.
yeah,
And in a way, like I always said this, like say if I had a really crappy morning and then had to go into the salon, the great thing about our job is like you kind of just have to be on show,
yeah,
and you very quickly have to forget about that crappy thing
yeah,
that happened, because you have to put an act on, and your clients don't want to hear about that crappy thing.
yeah,
They're there for you to make them feel better, not the
yeah,
other way around. But the issue with that, and I think that's what probably ended up happening to me years down the line,
mhm,
is you end up putting too many things in a box.
yeah,
So any bad feelings, any feelings of stress, anger, anxiety, worry, concern, all in a box, all in a box, all in a box. And I guess until one day, inevitably, that box just explodes.
yeah,
And yeah, and then you eventually have to deal with it. But I think I went a very long time without actually heading up or going face on with any of my issues, really. I
yeah,
just learned very quickly to like put a face on it
yeah,
and just keep going.
yeah. And I know we've talked about this in the past, and bottling up all that um, emotion and those issues always brings you to a point of breaking,
Mm.
and therapy and having to kind of navigate through that is also very much part of modern day culture, whereas even 15 years ago that wasn't really an option. And but you managed to kind of pull through that particular point. You managed to push yourself into more of an education role. You've managed to elevate yourself and become the person who you are today. And as you've already said, that's been it's those moments that push you into another realm of your career. I left the group when at a particular point where, and then it was a really hard time for me, but I also was really sad to say goodbye to you guys and move on. Um, and then to see you continue doing what you're doing was a bit like voyeuristic for me to watch you were doing. I was like, I wish I was still a part of that, but I had to make that change. And I know you then you then moved on yourself. So tell us a little bit more about your next step into the next part of your stratosphere.
So I then was with the large salon group, and then there were a few changes that were being made. So they'd like I was in a role, and then they decided to put someone else in a role that would kind of took away some of my responsibilities, I guess. And I guess I felt a little bit hard done by it. And it showed I was constantly wanting to kind of work up a level, I suppose, and I felt like the ceiling had dropped and I couldn't necessarily go any further than where I was going. So it meant that I needed to move on, and that was then when I had a very good friend, and we decided to open a salon together, Rose and Wild, and we opened it together. And I guess it was for me, and it's probably at that time, opening a salon was probably like the top of where you could ever get to, I suppose. Like that had always maybe been part of my dream. Like, if I was kind of trying to push myself, where would that what would that look like? Where would, if I was to get to the, end of the game, where would be that final part? It would be opening a salon. And I did it. I was like so amazed that I opened it with my friend. It won loads of awards within like 6 months. Actually, it won loads of awards. It had a very like unique look to it of its time. It was, something's doing well when lots of other people start to replicate it afterwards, and that was definitely happening. We were, using like the neon signs and the pink. And actually, when I think of it now, I'm like, that's so not me. I've so moved past that kind of look. But at the time, it was just so exciting. I loved like pastel colors, and it was very up my street. And again, it was much part of like the education that I would offer. So I'd offer education on pastel hair, and it all kind of synced together really beautifully. And yeah, I was on a high for sure. But then like, cracks started to kind of form. COVID happened. So, which was just kind of difficult for everyone. No one knew what was going on. It's very difficult. I fell pregnant as well, which is obviously a good thing, but also just another layer of difference happening. Me and my business partner started to kind of fall out quite dramatically as time went on. And also what I was starting to find, I was doing a lot of the jobs within the salon that weren't really ones that empowered me. I felt I was losing a bit of myself in doing it. Like the bits of the job that I felt great at were the creative side. So as an example, I love like building the salon, decorating the salon, but you can't do that every day. So then there was a lot of business that was involved. And I think probably, the dispute that I had with my business partner and friend at the time probably didn't help that also. But I think I just very quick, you have your values, don't you? And I think my values weren't being met. So although I'd reached this pinnacle of what I thought like the ideal successful look of what my life should be, I was there. I felt probably the unhappiest I've felt. And I think on the outside, like everyone was so happy for me. They were so proud of me, and that was really good. But like I would just feel a bit low, to be honest. Like I'd get home, I don't know, I just felt like not aligned, I guess, with what felt right for me. It was really difficult. And I had my son, and that was also a bit of a difficult time because in the industry, before having him, I didn't really know of anyone or any females that had or were voicing that they had children that were in kind of leadership type roles.
Yeah.
I'd often judge at colour competitions and I would be the only female there, never mind the only female with children. So I didn't really know what that looked like or how it needed to look. And all I knew is I needed to prove that it was possible.
Yeah.
And what that ended up meaning is that I was kind of pushing myself more than what was actually achievable. I wanted it to look like I didn't have children. I wanted to show like how successful and great I can be. But not really mention that I've got children and, also trying to do that on the side as well. And so I'm trying to navigate having this salon, trying to navigate having a broken down relationship, kind of like a marriage within like a business, and then navigating having a child and gaining all these new education roles that I was getting as well. And I ended up just basically, and I now look at it now and I know what it was, but I kind of just ended up having a bit of a breakdown, I think. So I remember speaking to Jo about it, and she spoke about her having a panic attack, and I couldn't really relate to that because I've never had a panic attack, and I just assumed if someone would have a panic attack, that's what that would look like.
Yeah.
You can't breathe, or you faint, or I don't. There's all these different forms of that. But actually, what ended up happening to me is I ended up getting just really ill. I felt permanently sick. I felt permanently like my body was hurting. I felt permanently like I had the shakes, like I had the flu or something. I was sweating like constantly. And then like the inability to be able to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And that at the time, I just thought I've got this really bad bug. It's really weird. But now, see, it's quite clear. My husband knew it straight away. He was like, Siobhan, I think you're just overworked. I think you're not actually ill. It's really weird. Like you're just so overworked. Your body's just not really knowing how to manage it.
Yeah.
And I think it was, see, from that point that I just knew there needed to be a bit of a change. So I decided to move away from the salon, sell my part of my salon, which again was a really difficult thing to do because I thought it would look like I was failing. You know, as soon as you know what people are like people gossip, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's horrible. And it's ridiculous really that the thought of that almost stopped me from doing it. Like I remember like sitting with my husband and him going, Siobhan, you need to leave the salon. You need to leave. Sorry. And I was like, I can't. Like, if I leave, people will think I'm a failure. Like, people will just not have any faith in anything I say, and they will just think that I failed. And it makes me so sad now because I just think, imagine, like, I could have still been in that horrible, horrible, horrible position, feeling awful, feeling low, feeling sad, just because I was scared of what people would think. Like, how ridiculous is that? Thankfully, I pulled myself together and I was like, okay, great. I'm going to just leave and I'm going to tell people I'm leaving. And the most like amazing thing happened. Like people were so, so supportive. I had so many messages, so many phone calls, so many people I'd spoke to who were, in the same position,
Yeah.
running businesses, running salons, in jobs, in relationships, and all different types of positions, but in a place where they felt like they couldn't, or they were stuck. Really, they couldn't leave, and I'd thankfully and hopefully gave them the strength, I guess, to kind of see that they could do something else. And I think that's, when I look at my career, when I do those things, so if I voice myself or if I voice my opinion or I'm honest and I get reactions like that from people that make them feel stronger and give them strength, that's so much more important to me than anything else.
Yeah.
Like educating how to do some balayage. Yes, I want to educate people. I want to empower people. But I also, if I can make someone feel stronger and live differently in a better way, like for me, that is what I'm about, like 100%. And I think without having all of that happen, I don't think I would fully have understood that. And now I have a very clear goal and mindset as to where I need to do. So any jobs I take on or anything that I do, I always ask the question, like, is that going to fundamentally help to change this industry? Is it going to help
Mm,
people? And if it does, then I will 100% want to be involved in that.
yeah.
Sorry for my rant.
Don't be sorry, because I was there with you when that
Hmm.
happened, and it was tough to see. Um, but I think what is the big shining thing that comes out of that is what an amazing human being you are and how resilient you are. And seeing you make some very tough decisions and move forward from that point, um, and be a mother at the same time and having a massive life adjustment around you. Um, that's I don't know how to put it in words, but that's why I love you. Is because you're so you're real. We talked about this when we went away for your birthday, but there's no nonsense about you. Know exactly where we stand with you. I'm talking about we as in everybody that was in at your
And the world.
birthday and the world. Um, and you can see through the bullshit, and I think that's a massive, massive power that you have. But I think again, what we were talking about earlier is that you will not let go of something until you know it's not the right way forward. And as soon as that's done, then it's time to move on. Yeah, that made me very emotional hearing you talk about that as well.
Sorry.
That's all right.
But positives from that,
Positive.
I have had obviously another son since that.
Yeah.
I have opened a new studio and it fits perfectly with my values. And I think that's great. So even like the aesthetic of it feels so much more me
Mm,
than if my old, my old salon. Now with having my new son, I have definitely tried my best to do things differently. Like
mm,
I'm not hiding anything. I was like, I know what I can do and I know what's possible. So I will just do the best that I can.
yeah.
So rather than trying to prove something, I'm like, what is it that I want to do? Like, so hand picking the jobs that work for me and align with me.
Yeah.
I'm voicing the fact that I have a child. I'm not trying to hide it
Yeah.
because actually, I think the more I do that, the more other people will do that. Because actually, there are loads of people in this industry that have children, but they just don't speak about it because there's this unsaid rule that if you say that you have children or if you own up to having children, it might mean that you're not as committed
Yeah.
potentially to the jobs. You're less likely to get certain jobs.
Hmm.
Like, I've been pregnant and not told people I was pregnant because I didn't want to not get the job. Like
Yeah.
that, it is a thing. And unfortunately, we've got a long way to go with that. But I will continue as much as I can to make sure that I'm
Yeah.
voicing these things because actually it is possible. I can work, I can have a child, I can do all those things.
Yeah.
Maybe not all at the same time, and I might have to actively choose and select what works and when, but it is possible. But I
Yeah.
think the more we speak about it, I think it will make it much easier for everyone.
Do you think so? Talking from a relationship that hasn't got children, I can really obsess about my career and my role to the point where I need to find a distraction. Do you feel like perhaps having children and a family life now has able to give you that, not hobby, but that thing that takes you away from that obsessiveness about your work so that you can step away from it and be like, I'm not going to answer any emails or anything because this is my focus right now? Sort of in comparison to you when you got your RSI,
Mm,
where you were like totally focused and no hobbies and no distractions. Do you
mm.
feel like that family has given you that ability to break away from that?
It definitely, I am much more conscious of the decisions and what I take on
Mm,
because, before, for instance, and just put it back to the salon, I would have stayed back for Jane to do her hair. And then I would have ended up doing a 12-hour day
mm,
without even realizing it because I don't know. I
yeah,
I could do that. That's fine. I don't want to let Jane down. But now, I'm not just I would let Jane down, but I would also be letting my children down.
Yeah.
And I then have to, who's more important to me?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jane, it is my children. So it does make me much more conscious on what I take on, what I don't.
Yeah.
It was from having them that I then made sure I had a work phone and a non-work phone, so that I look at these things. So
Yeah.
definitely it does make you do that. The difficulty is it's very hard to divide your time. So yes, it is distracting me from work. And when I'm at work, it's kind of distracting me from my children a bit, because it's good to have that time. But there isn't anything really distracting me from both of those areas.
Yeah.
So I don't often have a lot of time for me. So is kind of a skill that I'm trying to learn at the minute, to make sure that I'm penciling in me time, I guess, because that's hard. Like, the hardest thing, I think, like, you can do everything if you're a mum and you're working. I do highly believe that, but you do have less time.
Yeah.
So you've just got to be
Yeah.
better at kind of utilizing your time in the
Yeah.
best way, I think.
So
Yeah.
what do you think you're going to push forward now? Well, not necessarily push forward. How are you going to look forward and making sure you're penciling that time in for you? What does that look like for you? Do you have a vision for that?
So I do. So both my children are now at nursery and school as of today. So this is as of yesterday, sorry. So there will be more time.
Yeah.
So I've got an admin day on Friday, using the skills that I've learned from one of Joe's courses.
Yeah.
I've itemized the time throughout the whole day. So an hour for this, an hour for that. And part of my plan is me going through my diary and blocking out time for me. So as I would block out time for the podcast, time for planning education, time for doing clients, etc. I've also got like bits of time that I'm going to map out for me. I'm not 100% sure on how often that will be.
Yeah.
Because also you've got to think about your relationship as well, don't you? I have to put time in there for time with Josh. Because I've recently had a new child, so that hasn't been happening as frequently as I would like. So yeah, it just, how do I make that happen? Putting it in, putting it in the diary, because if you don't, it doesn't happen, does it?
No.
I do like planning though.
Like
I love a plan. I love a diary. I know this doesn't work for everyone, but I can't really possibly see how it would work for someone that doesn't plan. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Is it possible? I don't know.
I think it's interesting, really, because I think there's a lot of I have 3 diaries, and then I have many lists.
Yeah.
And I will now have AI technology that I talk to write more lists.
Fantastic.
So if I didn't have any of that, I don't know how I would even exist.
No.
So
yeah. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need more lists. Yeah. More lists. The answer to that question. More lists.
So you talked about being a mum and being an advocate for a working mum within the industry. And actually, we've been seeing that a lot on your social media, and it's been really, really empowering to see you do that from a male point of view. And it really stands out. It really does. And I think what is really brilliant about it is how raw and honest you are with how you're feeling at that time and where you're at. How do you want to sort of bring that into the future? How are you looking at that moving forward?
Looking at moving forward, I definitely want to kind of emphasize what I've been doing already.
Yeah.
Conversations. I'd like to. I think I just want to provide what I feel like I was lacking and missing.
Yeah.
So just support, creating a bit of a network with it, really.
Yeah.
Creating community of people where you can discuss like the good bits, the hard bits. I would absolutely love to be able to kind of create some kind of forum where you could get bits of information. So even like, I don't know, planning a maternity leave, that's in itself, that's a really difficult thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get paid, but yet you want to spend time with your children. But also when you're spending time with your children, you leave a career that you love and worked all your life towards.
Yeah.
Like, that's really difficult as well. So
a clientele.
you've got a clientele, what do you do? Like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah.
And I did it twice. So the second time round, I feel like I did it better than the
Yeah.
first time. Because I just knew what I liked, what I needed. And even with that, things change. But just support and just a conversation that would help people with that. Because at the minute, that doesn't exist.
No.
You just get you're going to take it, and like obviously we know you're not going to get paid. That's crap. But like what happens after that? Yeah.
Have you had many people reach out to you?
I have had loads of people reach out to me. Yeah. So it's that in itself has been great. But I think I would love to be able to have some form of tool or something that I could share, I think.
Yeah.
So that's I mean, I've just brainstormed an idea there. Thanks.
You have.
There you
It's
go.
all right. Put that into your time slot on Friday for your admin.
I think I need about 20 days for that.
Oh my God.
I'll give it 30 minutes to start.
To write another list.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Siobhan. It's been absolutely beautiful hearing your story and emotional.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're an absolute powerhouse, and I am so proud to be by your side doing this podcast, but also sort of as a friend and enjoying life together.
I love you. Thank you.
The Oh So Lovely Talk Show. The Oh So Lovely Talk Show.
So lovely.